The word that best describes Ryse, son of Rome, is anachronistic. And even though the game is rife with historical inaccuracies, it's the gameplay and story that feel out of time and place.
You play Marius, an ancient Roman legionary whose family is murdered by barbarians, and thus swears revenge against all barbarians everywhere.
You murdering barbarian bastard!
But Marius learns there may be more to his family's murder than it seems, a conspiracy that threatens to destroy the Empire and...
Sorry, it's just you'd think we'd be tired of this kind of story by now.
It's your typical hoorah male power fantasy that we as a society apparently still haven't grown out of yet, if games like Ryse and Call of Duty are any indication.
Salute your new centurion!
Yay.
It's a shame the story is so insipid, because the acting and motion capture are anything but. Marius may be the blandest man to ever wear a skirt, but he and everyone else look and sound great. People actually look like people, and emotions and expressions are convincing.
Except when they smile. Then it kind of reminds me of the clown from Stephen King's It.
Ryse's set pieces, from the streets of ancient Rome to bombed-out battlefields to the lush forests of Britain, look wonderful, but they're not much more than a series of pretty hallways. You can't explore these environments, and consequently, they don't feel real.
This is a problem a lot of old games had to deal with because they had limited hardware.
You couldn't go backwards in Super Mario Bros. Because the Nintendo could only handle what was on the screen at that moment.
But now my phone has more processing power in it than the shuttle that landed on the moon. Ryse, son of Rome isn't limited in scope because the Xbox One can't handle it, but because the developers think that's what we want.
This mindset is further reinforced in Ryse's combat, which is as dull as the man you're controlling. You know the drill. Attack, attack, big attack. Attack, attack, big attack. The game tries to mix things up by throwing in some gory finishing moves, but there aren't very many of them.
I mean, once you've seen one guy get his arm cut off and his throat cut out, you've kind of seen them all.
Probably the most interesting mechanic is the ability to command troops using only your voice and the Xbox One's Kinect. You can order troops to form up, launch a catapult, or fire a volley of arrows.
Voice recognition is pretty accurate, as long as you speak loud enough. But obviously the Xbox thinks you're going to be speaking like this. Fire volley. But you'll probably just end up saying it like this. Fire volley.
Once again, the combat looks great, but it becomes very repetitive very quickly. Sure, every once in a while you'll gather your troops and form a phalanx to advance on an entrenched enemy, but you only do it when the game tells you you can do it.
Roman military life was extremely rigid and disciplined, so I wouldn't have as much of a problem with this, if the game were in any way historically accurate or realistic.
About halfway through the game, Marius gets a direct line to the Roman goddess, Summer.
I have the entirety of Roman history at my fingertips, and it all says you're full of crap.
And in the climax, Boudica lays siege to the city of Rome with Carthaginian war elephants.
Ryse, if Hannibal were here today, I'm not sure if he'd be upset with you or just really confused about Dumbo.
When I see an elephant fly.
But Ryse doesn't think you'll know, or much less care, about any of that. Because Ryse isn't meant for you and me. It's meant for the general audience. The kind of people who probably think Boudica is a new rap song, and see nothing wrong with the spelling of Ryse, son of Rome.
This is the gaming equivalent of a Michael Bay movie. Lots of special effects, but no soul. If you just want to beat the hell out of some barbarians for a couple hours, more power to you. But if you want something with more substance, look elsewhere. Because Ryse, son of Rome for the Xbox One gets a 2 out of 5.